Nothing to do. These days they come and go. Let's let the good times roll. Let's let the good times roll.
Welcome to the All Moto Tire Garage. In this video, we've put together what we call a Motorcycle Tires 101 presentation. We'll cover the topics of tire selection. How do I know if I need new tires? Tire pressure, the nomenclature and information related to tires, tread wear, inspecting your tires, valve stems, tire repair do's and don'ts, and a trivia question at the end. Hey folks, it's Don. Welcome back to the channel. Let me preface this discussion by saying I am not a tire engineer, nor did I earn a chemical engineering degree. I am, rather, a person with over a half century of experience in many different forms of motorcycle riding, racing, and repairing motorcycles, the latter of which includes as many decades of motorcycle tire installations. I put together this video because I often receive tire-related questions, the answers for which may not be general knowledge. Hopefully, the information in this video will benefit both new and seasoned riders. So what tires do I choose? Perhaps a great starting point is considering what the manufacturer installed. A good deal of research goes into matching tires to a particular motorcycle. Are my tires bias ply or radial construction? And do my tires have inner tubes? If we look at this diagram, we can see that the plies of the bias ply tire have a crossing pattern. These tires generally have a stiffer and ergo stronger sidewall. Many of the cruiser as well as adventure tires use this type of construction, making the tires less susceptible to damage from potholes and rocks. It's a jungle out there. Radial tires, on the other hand, are constructed in a manner that allows for a smoother ride and perhaps better grip on paved surfaces. Keep in mind that there are crossovers in most all categories of tires. That is, you can generally find both bias and radial designs for the same motorcycle. The inner tube discussion can take us down a few different paths. By 1955, most automobiles were shod with tubeless tires, but most dirt bikes and many of the motorcycles built before the 1970s came equipped with tube-type tires. In the 1970s, the advent of cast aluminum wheels facilitated the use of tubeless tires on motorcycles. Approximately one-third of motorcycles still use tube-type tires, but it is said that due to the increased heat generated by the inner tube, they wear faster than their tubeless counterparts. We'll talk about the identification markings in a bit, but know that if a tire is marked as tube type, an inner tube must be fitted. Tubes can have advantages. For example, if one is riding on an adventure or dirt bike over extreme surface conditions, damage could occur to a wheel rim that might cause a tubeless tire to leak. Being able to install a new tube or patching the damaged tube might just save the day and allow a rider to continue to his or her destination. As a side note, a tubeless tire can be used in a tube-type application, but not the other way around. Decades ago, if a motorcycle had wire spokes, it could be deduced that an inner tube was used. Not so in all cases today. For example, KTM used a rubber-like gasket band that seals off the spoke nipples. BMW connects spokes to the outer lip of the rim, while Yamaha incorporates a wheel with a center flange so that in both cases the spokes do not penetrate the interior of the rim. Tire size. What's right? Can I install a bigger tire? Owners sometimes want to install a wider tire than what was original equipment. We really need to exercise caution here. In this instance, An owner fitted a wider tire on his cruiser motorcycle. At speed, the tire can expand, and in this case, the tire sidewall was damaged by a contact with an accessory. Handling characteristics can sometimes be adversely affected as well. So, how do I make tire choices? Do I have a heavy cruiser or touring bike and perhaps ride two up or carry heavy loads? I probably need a reinforced tire with a higher load rating. Do I ride a sport touring or sport bike? Radial tires with a rubber compound that maximizes traction on pavement would be appropriate. Do I ride an adventure bike? Perhaps we would consider a semi-aggressive tread pattern for mixed surface riding, such as the stiff sidewall bias ply Heidenau K60 tires or the Moto's Tractionator Adventure. Keeping in mind that these 50-50 tires, as we sometimes call them, are a compromise between off-road traction and traction grip levels on the highway. Rule of thumb, less aggressive tread generally equals better highway performance. Road conditions can play a part in tire life. Are the roads smooth asphalt or rough chip seal surfaces? Colder or warmer weather may also play a role. Tires can wear much faster in hot climates. Some tire manufacturers offer mud and snow tread compounds that claim to provide better grip in cold conditions. These tires will sometimes have a sidewall marking that reads M plus S. What's my skill level? Am I okay with a 50-50 on off-road tire? Or do I need maximum grip in muddy terrain? If we spend most of our time on the pavement, we'll likely get less tire life from a block or knobby style tire. Here are some questions to ask when choosing tires. What does the manufacturer recommend? Check your owner's manual. Remember, engineers spend a good deal of time selecting tires appropriate for your motorcycle. What type of bike am I riding? Am I carrying a passenger and or extra gear? Where will I spend the most of my time, on pavement or off-road? How many miles do I expect to get from a set of tires? Do I ride the occasional short trip, or do I go on epic excursions of several thousand miles? Tire load and speed rating. What does the manufacturer specify? What's my riding skill level? Am I a novice, intermediate, or an expert? What kind of tire will give me the traction, stability, and ergo the most confidence? What about cost? Like most everything else these days, motorcycle tires are expensive. The money goes flying and it's easy to break the bank. Name brands like Dunlop, Michelin, Heidenau, Motos, and Midas, to name a few, will generally cost more than a Shinko, Kendo, or IRC, for example. Quality and performance of the less expensive brands is improving. Based on the manufacturer's recommendations, style of riding, expected performance, and life cycle, we think it's best to purchase the best tire one can afford. But here's another sometimes overlooked tire cost consideration. For a comparison, we'll look at two rear tires in a size of 170/60/17. For example, the Kenda K784 is a decent tire with good on and off-road traction. It has about 10 millimeters of tread depth. The Moto's Tractionator Adventure tire has decent performance on and off pavement, but it has about 14 millimeters of tread depth. The Kenda retails for about $170, while the Moto's is about $280. Now, if we compare the expected tire life mileage of the two, we probably can expect 2,000 to 2,500 miles out of the Kenda. On the other hand, the Motos will likely more than double that mileage. So one has to weigh the cost versus one's performance expectations. Remember that short trip versus long excursion we mentioned? One tire choice might be fine for that short haul, but what if we're doing a 5,000-mile journey and how often do we want to swap tires? Tire choice is a huge topic and one that might take some research. By all means, if you're unsure of what's right for you, consult your local dealer. There are a bevy of tire reviews online. Check out online sites like Revzilla, ADV Rider, and YouTube, all great places to get more information. Or talk to someone with experience with the kinds of motorcycle you ride. So, how do I know if I need new tires?
How many miles did I put on these tires? I replaced them last summer. Or was it the summer before?
For some folks, the answer is simple. This guy left home for a 3-day ride on his pre 2000s Harley. Hundreds of miles from home in another state, the tire exploded, leaving him stranded alongside the highway. Fortunately, he was not injured or killed. This couple hit a pothole riding a Harley two up on a 60-mile-per-hour highway. Still upright, they didn't bother checking the tire. A couple of miles down the road, the sidewall failed. The message here? Check your tires before, during, and after the ride. So, how do we determine tread wear limits? Most tires have what's referred to as a wear bar. The wear bar is a small bump of rubber at the valley of the tread. It tells us the tire's safe wear limit. Another method to check whether the tire should be replaced is by the use of a tread depth gauge. They're relatively inexpensive and can be easily purchased online. When the tread depth reaches around 3/32 of an inch, the tire is probably at the replacement limit. A simple penny might also be used. If when the penny is placed in the valley of the tread and it doesn't at least meet the top of Lincoln's head, it's time. Let's talk about tread wear. While an automobile tire may achieve a wear out mileage of 40,000 miles or perhaps more, a tire on a heavy cruiser motorcycle, on the other hand, might average only 8 to 11,000 miles. So, how many miles can I expect to get from a set of motorcycle tires? Weather, road conditions, and motorcycle attributes play a big part in the mileage factor. This powerful sport bike will likely wear out a set of tires much faster than this scooter. The weight of these two machines is also going to be a huge factor. These and other factors we've already discussed have a role in tire life. As a side note, a rear tire generally wears out about twice as fast as a front. As the old saying goes, your mileage may vary. So plan ahead. If you think you won't have enough tire life for that next journey, think about swapping out those worn tires. You'll be glad you did. Uneven wear. What's going on? Inspecting your tires for visual cues of uneven tread wear can help determine potential contributing factors. The common wear pattern often seen is called cupping, as evidenced by undulations in the tread. Although not the only factor, the profile of the tire itself can be a contributor. Where the edge of the tread meets the sidewall, the diameter of the tire is smaller than the overall outside diameter. The center of the tire is turning faster than the edge diameter, and the smaller section progressively tries to catch up with the larger outer diameter. Tread squirm happens, and that can result in the cupping effect. This phenomenon is to some extent unavoidable, and the tread pattern design can influence the degree of cupping. Here are some of the other factors that can cause uneven wear, and the first one is probably one of the most overlooked. Underinflation can not only cause uneven tire wear, but can cause tire overheating, premature tire wear, and poor handling as well. Over time, even the best sealed tire can lose air pressure. Overloading the bike beyond its gross vehicle weight rating can cause premature tire wear, if not outright tire failure. Worn or improperly maintained motorcycle components like steering head bearings, wheel bearings, and rear wheel alignment in the case of a chain-driven motorcycle can also be factors. Failure indicators. What are some of the signs? Because we only have two tires between us and Mother Earth, it's important to inspect our tires and wheels for damage. We talked about ways to check remaining tread life. It's important. The difference between this condition and this condition could be a mere bump in the road away. Look for signs of tire wear. Bulges or irregularities. Here we see a tire where the inner tread plies have failed. Weather checking. Over time, rubber dries out and cracking can begin to appear. This condition could be the result of the tire's age, overexposure to UV rays, or all of the above. Valve stems and/or rubber seals should be replaced when a new tire is mounted or if a stem is damaged or leaking. Sidewall damage. Debris in the roadway, potholes, or other obstacles can cause tread and sidewall damage. Sidewall damage is a serious issue, and a tire with this kind of damage cannot be repaired. Replace the tire. If during your ride you know or suspect you've encountered rim damage, stop and inspect both tires and rims. Tire markings. What does it all mean? The tire sidewall holds a host of information. We'll focus on just a few of what we think are the most important. Most tire sizes these days are a combination of metric and inch designations. We have width in millimeters, the aspect ratio, the tire cross-section height expressed as a percentage of the width, and the rim diameter expressed in inches. So as an example, if a tire reads 120/70 ZR19, that means the tire width is 120 millimeters wide. The cross-section height is 70% of the width. Tires are assigned a speed rating, indicating the maximum safe operation speed while carrying its designated load. In our example, our tire was marked ZR and 60W. The W gives the tire a speed rating of up to 168 miles per hour. Tires are also assigned a load rating, indicating the maximum safe load the tire can carry. Our example was marked with 60, which indicates that the maximum safe load is 531 pounds. Starting in the year 2000, the United States Department of Transportation required that tires must have a date of manufacture code. This code generally appears in an oval and is a 4-digit number. The first two numbers are the week of manufacture, and the second two numbers are the year of manufacture. So in this example, this tire was made in the 37th week of 2019. The date code can be helpful in knowing when it's time to replace a tire. Generally speaking, 5 to 7 years is accepted as a replacement interval. That interval can vary, however, depending on the exposure to the elements, particularly UV rays from the sun. Rubber dries out and oxidizes over time, so be sure to check your tires for signs of aging or cracking. Next up, let's take a look at compounds. No, not the military kind. We mean tire tread compounds. Together with natural and synthetic rubber, today's tire manufacturers bring together a symphony of materials and chemicals such as sulfur, carbon black, and silicone to produce tread that offers durability, flexibility, and grip. Here are some of the other materials that help produce the final product, such as fillers, reinforcing materials, plasticizers, vulcanization chemicals, and antioxidants, anti-aging chemicals. Tire treads can also be produced with different compounds that are dispersed over the contact patch area. In this chart from Michelin, we see that a harder rubber can be used in the center of the tire to provide longer wear, while the outer edge sections might have a softer compound to provide better cornering grip. Many different combinations can be produced, particularly for specialized racing tires. From sport bikes to sport tourers, heavy cruisers to adventure motorcycles, tread compounds and designs change. So, as we can see, depending on the intended fitment and use, tire compounds can exhibit a wide array of variation. It's a balancing act of sorts, compromising between wear out mileage, handling characteristics, and performance. Another question I've infrequently been asked: what's the difference between a sport bike street tire and a full track day or race tire? The M1 on the left is a world-class racing machine, producing close to 300 brake horsepower. The tires for the M1 are slick and devoid of tread grooves. They are designed to give maximum grip at the higher sustained temperatures created during racing conditions. The street-going R1 on the right is also a potent machine and produces around 200 horsepower. While some riders might see a track training day or two, most of the R1's time is spent on the highway, perhaps even in stop-and-go street traffic. The average riding conditions experienced on the street wouldn't generate the heat required to activate the grippiness of a full race tire. We say, why waste your money on race tires designed for the track? Let's talk about tire repair. Most likely, at some point, we've all experienced a flat tire. Sometimes it's discoverable even before a ride begins, but it may happen many miles from home or a tire shop. Obviously, a failure like this one can't be repaired, and phoning for a tow truck is probably the outcome. Also, do not attempt to repair sidewall damage such as this. When we get a simple puncture, there are several temporary remedies available if one is prepared. One of the most common repair types is what's generally known as the string plug. Kits like this one consist of the sticky string-like material, a reamer to clean the puncture, fluid to assist the vulcanization process, and a tool to insert the plug. These kits are inexpensive and can be purchased at most any auto parts store. Another caution here, however. A tire should only be plugged in what we might call the safe zone. The tread area is generally much thicker than the sidewall. And we should never attempt to plug a tire within a half inch of that sidewall. Additionally, a puncture that is perpendicular to the tread zone is the safest wound we would want to plug. An object that punctures the tire in a transverse manner, such as this, can cause unseen damage to the carcass. There are several types of tire plugs on the market, so called mushroom plugs or the screw in type. Just keep in mind that these repairs should be considered temporary, and repairs should be monitored frequently to ensure safety. If possible, the best type of a tire repair for a simple puncture employs a patch plug such as this. This repair does require removing the tire from the wheel, but it provides the best and most safe puncture repair. Along with the string plugs mentioned, here are some of my personal travel tools that I carry. Tire irons. I carry 3 of these. They are 15 inches long and made of steel, but after manhandling my share of stiff-walled adventure tires and for the assistance provided by the curved ends, I will gladly pay the weight penalty. An electric pump. Mine is a Best Rest cycle pump that plugs into a 12-volt SAE cable on my motorcycle. But there are many offerings out there, like this rechargeable Air Moto, for example. Tire paste. If, in the event, you do need to mount a tire out in the field, a good tire paste can make that job much easier. You could also use a product like Windex, but a good tire paste not only acts as a mounting lubricant but also provides some sealing properties. Okay, for all the marbles. Okay, so for laughs and giggles, who invented the pneumatic tire? It was John Boyd Dunlop. Oddly enough, working as a veterinarian in Belfast, Ireland, Mr. Dunlop wanted to help prevent his son's headaches from riding his bicycle on rough Belfast roads. And thus was the birth of the inflatable tire concept. So there you have it. If you've watched this video to the end, we hope you've gained at least a few tips about motorcycle tires. We appreciate you being here. Happy travels and stay safe out there. If you have questions, leave your thoughts in the comments section or email us at allmototire@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and click the bell to be notified of future releases. We do appreciate it.